This is Madmen Sports.
Now, Shady, hey, listen, Shady. This is young man's game, Shady.
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
It's your boys, Jake, Diamond Dave, and Zach. What's going on, guys?
What's happening? Big weekend, Dave. How'd it go?
Good weekend, good weather, good times.
It's not ending on good weather, but I'll take good weather on Saturday. It was beautiful.
I had to work today. What do I care?
So, we woke up to some wild news this morning, right?
Yeah, I woke up late for work.
Woke up late for work.
That is your big news of today
Something else happened?
on a Buffalo Bills podcast.
There was some jerk got arrested.
Think south. Who?
Oh, Ed Oliver got arrested for D-Dub.
Yes.
At Oliver Street.
Defensive tackle
That we do not condone.
Ed
No.
Oliver
Very,
was
very serious matter.
arrested by the Texas State Police for a DWI and a weapons charge. Kind of the last thing the Buffalo Bills needed.
Definitely the last thing they wanted.
It was a tough look. It's unfortunate to see. We're certainly not going to take the stance, and we're not taking the stance that this is a light matter in any capacity. Millions, hundreds of thousands of people die from drunk driving every year. So this obviously is no laughing matter. This is serious. What do you guys think about this, Dave?
I think he's 22.
Yep.
22-year-old kid that made a mistake. Doesn't mean he needs to have his career ruined or not be a 22-year-old. Everyone's going to make mistakes. The problem is 22-year-old, in his case, has a lot of money. And with a lot of money comes a lot of dumb decisions. And he made one, so he's going to have to pay the consequences. Probably nothing this year or nothing that's going to affect the Bills unless Brandon Beane and McDermott and the Bills organization want to do something and not Oliver to punish him, which they might have to, because it kind of mimics a young Marcel Darius back in the day, which didn't end up well for his career because his career is pretty much over. So it's kind of something you have to address right away and solve.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem with this whole thing is that it is a very serious matter. We spoke with Perino, and we talked about how important, like, a sophomore player's second or first offseason in real life is. And, you know, this isn't a really good look with all that time and money on his hands. You'd like to think that, you know, this is a one-off and you can't have something like this kind of roll over and spiral into something that's way bigger than it needs to be. Make this a one instance. Slap him on the wrist hard. Learn from this. Grow on and grow as an NFL player and get ready to get back at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one thing to note as well, there's a lot of kind of speculations and questions about his gun charge as well. It is Texas state law that you do not need a permit or a license to keep a handgun in your vehicle. You don't need a license or a permit like you do in New York State to even acquire a handgun. Anyone over the age of 21 can purchase a handgun. It only becomes an issue when you're open carrying, then you would need that special license permit. But I think the issue comes due to the fact that he did have an open container of beer sitting in between his legs. That kind of nullifies the fact and his ability to keep a firearm in his vehicle. You look at some things as well. He was taken to a local hospital for a blood alcohol content blood test. We do know that in the state of Texas, the legal limit is 0.08. It definitely will be interesting to see if that ever comes out, what his blood alcohol content was. I mean, if it's a 0.06, then the main issue, of course, is that open container. In the event that he blew a 0.19, of course, that's going to be a bigger issue. What do you think about that handgun, Zach?
I think the gun charge will be dropped. I think it has a direct correlation to the open container and driving while impaired. I mean, this is a serious issue. I don't hope for it to be dropped because I want if all serious matters to be taken very seriously. I just hope that, you know, that everything that comes across is handled with a firm hand. They can take care of it properly with the correct legal system. And, you know, this, like Dave mentioned earlier, it's good knowledge by Dave right there coming up with that one, that it is not going to affect the 2020 Buffalo Bills. It will wait a year. In 2021 was probably when the suspension comes down because they do let due process of the legal system take in effect first. This just happened in May. Season starts in September. You know, it'll roll into it. And then in 2021, he will be cracked down, depending on what happens with the legalities of everything. 1, 2, or 3 game suspension here.
Which I can see this all being dropped. I have no proof to back that up, but I could see it being dropped. I think it's a slow news week. Everyone's looking for dying for sports right now. I could see this being swept under the rug and forgotten about.
It's definitely not something to take lightly. It's definitely a DWI charge. I don't think they would have done it otherwise.
It's concerning because he's our player that we have high expectations for.
Yeah, he was one of 6
But we all know what
players.
happens with athletes with money.
Yeah, and this comes after big news last week in South Florida. We had Giants quarterback DeAndre Baker and Seattle Seahawks cornerback Quentin Dunbar.
Dunbar's
accused of an armed robbery in Florida, which is crazy.
You know what they say about idle hands, man.
Yeah, and things come in multiples, too. It's a tough look. There's a lot of issues with NFL players.
It's been a while since the Bills players ran into trouble with the law. I'd probably say Darius was the last one. Drag racing down, was that Mile Strip? Mongolian Buffet area. It's a bad look.
Protect Mongolian Buffet at all costs.
Dave doesn't like Mongolian Buffet.
I hate it.
Bad thing happened last time.
Yeah, wasted our money on food.
Yeah. Never mind.
It was cold. It
We
was
won't
rainy.
talk
It was
about it.
miserable.
The receipts suck.
But Jake wanted it.
Yeah, I was.
We were jonesing for it.
I was incapacitated.
It was the Giant Jets game last year.
Remember that
but
waitress?
Listen,
Yeah, you loved her.
this is the bottom line here. Ed Oliver made a mistake. We don't let mistakes define
didn't love me.
22-year-olds. Listen, we don't let mistakes define 22-year-olds, but this needs to be handled with a strong arm, not a delicate hand. This is not something that's very process of him. This isn't what Brandon Beane hopes for when he drafts a player like this. This is not what Sean McDermott preaches every day with the process. All week on talk shows, they will be challenging process. Trust the process, because this is what they think a process is. Choir boys. People make mistakes. As a team, they have to grow from this. They have to teach him that this is better.
It'll be interesting to see the Buffalo Bills stance, not so much the NFL, with you saying, of course, process and culture is a big thing within the Buffalo Bills and one Bills drive. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Buffalo Bills take a stronger stance on this issue than maybe the NFL would be, to kind of keep that culture in check. Because you're right, things are going to be questioned if Ed Oliver goes scot-free, especially within the building
organization,
at one Bills drive. So I wouldn't see it out the realm of possibility to see stricter consequences happen to Ed Oliver within the team.
I just got something else on the top of my head we could talk about.
What is it?
Sammy Watkins went off the deep end, huh?
I
You
wouldn't.
guys want to touch on that at all?
I wouldn't say he went off the deep end. He has.
Seems like he's been off the deep end.
I mark it up to this. He's had a lot of bad things happen in his life. I think his stepbrother was shot point blank in the head. You grew up with all these problems. He came from a very, very poor family. That has a huge impact on a person. And to just obtain millions of dollars of being the 4th overall pick, you have a team go up and trade for you. That's going to put a lot of pressure on a person. And, this is more excusable, of course, than Ed Oliver's. But, you read the article, going out every night on Chippewa.
How do I not run into them? Like, we're in the same age bracket. How do I not run into Sammy Watkins on Chippewa if he's there every night?
But I think he just cracked under the pressure.
You don't have the money he does to go to those bars he does.
I've been to the bars on Chippewa. There's no secret bars on Chippewa. There's 5. Also on
you think the
Chippewa
Bills
is
were interested
Prima
in it?
Pasta Pizza.
Do you think the Bills were interested in him, or is that just...
No,
I think that's
Brandon
hearsay.
Beane specifically said that there was no outreach.
They have to say that, or it's called
They
tampering.
don't have to say that,
No,
especially,
it's not tampering.
especially
tampering.
with Brandon Beane's interview on the Pat McAfee show. I thought he was very open and honest, and I don't think he would be saying things that just weren't true.
Listen, when I say that he's been off the deep end, I mean like guys talk about lizard gods and things like that.
Yeah,
That's off the deep end.
I think he's just trying to find peace within himself in whatever way he can. We read in the article that
It's really nice of you, Jake.
I take mental illness very seriously. But,
Absolutely.
he said he was doing research on all these different religions trying to find, inner peace, and whatever that is, you can't knock the guy. Yeah, is it strange? Sure. But whatever you find in yourself so you can go to bed at night, you can be at peace with yourself, I don't care. Do it.
Yeah, mental illness, I agree. But my take on this whole thing is the Bills traded him for close to nothing to the Rams. The Rams gave him a shot. Wasn't very successful with the Rams. The Rams traded him or got rid of him. And now he's on the Chiefs. Before the Super Bowl, he was talking about retiring if he won the game. This guy, to me, football is secondary to him. He's a prima donna receiver who doesn't have much of a future left. I think that Andy Reid's getting everything he possibly can out of him. I think that he's just way in over his head. I think the Bills knew that. His passion right now is to party and not play football. I think he's, what was he, third overall? Fourth overall. This guy took football for granted. He should not be in the league right now, I think. He's obviously has a lot of mental issues, which I agree, Jake, is a serious thing.
But he wasn't partying for fun. He was partying to drown the pain. And when Chippewa wasn't an option, he even said that he was drinking in his basement.
Do you think the Bills would not offer him help and he would just not take it?
I think he ran away from the Bills from what I read.
He definitely didn't ask for help. I think that he had so much within himself, so many issues, that he just shut down, went into his shell. And that's something that is very possible that you learn from a young age. You have all these problems, you have all these crimes, you have all these issues. You're going to kind of get into a shell.
Beast.
Yeah, but if you remember when he was here, it started to come out that he wanted the ball. He was a me guy. He started to have issues with the quarterback.
They addressed it in the article.
I do think he has a lot of me issues, and I don't think he's much of a team guy.
I don't think that has been an issue since that one situation
the
in
Rams
Buffalo.
keep him?
I think
that was a money issue with that, and I don't think he was. Bottom line, I don't think he was worth the value that he was holding in. Listen, from a football perspective, football is secondary to him, and it probably always will be because of all the things he grew up with. He has used it as an escapism, and he has used it a way to fund his family. The bottom line is, when it comes down to coaches, they have to realize that these players are players or people still. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
Speaking of people, Josh Allen is one of the favorite people of the week. With him traveling all the way, I mean, he's already in Southern California.
Yeah.
But he's meeting with the rookies, Gabe Davis, Isaiah Hodgins,
Zach Moss.
and Zach Moss. He's working with them. He's got the rookies going. He's got Matt Barkley out there. Work with him, get him acclimated to the playbook, get him used to catching his balls, because that's a big key.
It's a rocket.
Yeah. You don't walk in day one, just start catching Josh Allen balls. You got to get used to that in May and hopefully work that over into September. You got to really work, his demeanor, his accuracy. It's not perfect. We know that. But you kind of got to get used to what he's looking for, how he prefers a route, how he prefers ball placements.
Timing's everything.
But this week, he's going to John Brown, Stephon Diggs in Florida. And I love that because
that's so good.
That's a leader right there. And I know I prefer to have 53 guys go all the way. I wish everyone was doing this. I know they can't. I know, just time, money, the current situation of the world right now. It's not easy just putting everyone in one spot and saying, hey, let's go practice. But it is very important to get the consistency down with the wide receivers. And I applaud Josh Allen for doing this. It's a big move by him.
And you see
especially as a third-year player.
You see all those wonderful videos of Devin Singletary running those hills right next to that throughway.
Absolutely. As Brandon Bean, mentioned on the Pat McAfee podcast this week, everyone's got good highlights. No one ever shows the bad highlights on social media. No one ever shows the drop passes or the bad throws.
Shout out to Cam Newton.
Absolutely. Dave, what's your take on Josh Allen pimping all over the world?
It's what I expect. This is a win-now team. I think Josh Allen's a dark horse for the MVP. I think this offense could tear it up this year. I want to see this kind of stuff. I'd be concerned if it wasn't happening.
Yeah, to a fault. You kind of have to expect this at this point. You know what I mean? This is your guy.
Definitely. I need football, man. I need the season to happen.
I need football. I need to know what we're doing with football. I need to know if I'm going to be there. I want to know if I need to buy a VR set so I can virtual reality football this year.
I need to drink a beer and watch sports, any kind of sport.
Golf was on today.
And NASCAR's going this
sleep
week.
enough. I don't need that.
What about NASCAR? That was on today. Richard Burks was watching it. Shout out.
Sleep enough.
Whoa. You can wait July.
Well, what are you expecting? Korean baseball's on at midnight. I was watching it Friday night, 4 a.m.
You're naming 3 sports that I absolutely hate. I don't care about baseball, NASCAR, golf, ping pong, swimming. I don't care about any of that crap.
Baseball's coming back around July 4th, right?
Nothing's in stone. They're still working out contracts.
Give me football. Give me basketball.
Just give me sports.
Just give me Bills.
Give
me more Josh Allen throwing to John Brown and
I'll
Stephon
watch
Diggs
bowling.
videos.
I don't care. Just give me something.
I want it.
You'll watch golf, or you watch bowling, but you want to watch golf?
Kyle Troop.
You would watch over 2 hours of golf?
Yeah.
You are full of shit. You would not watch 2 hours of golf.
I prefer to play golf.
That you would stay awake for.
No, you're right. It's more interesting to play golf than it is to watch golf.
Sure.
100%.
I've never
Sure.
played golf. It's
Give me a lawn chair.
Or
I'll sit
lefty.
outside and drink
if
beer for
anyone
hours.
wants to donate lefty clubs, please let me know. I'll even
Absolutely.
pay for them.
Thank you for listening and hopefully watching. We transferred over to a new camera. Hopefully, if you're watching it, or else we're gonna use the old audio.
It definitely worked.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everyone.
Take care. Stay safe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Instagram.
TikTok, Vine, MySpace,
Leave your comments.
Squarespace. I don't know.
LinkedIn.
No, we're not on LinkedIn.
We're not on any of those other ones.
Listen,
MySpace.
we're on MySpace. I still keep it going for Tom.
Shout out to Tom.
Listen to us Spotify, iTunes.
Not Napster. Do not illegally download us.
Yeah, don't illegally down. I don't care. Illegally download us. We don't put viruses in our threads.
Let Jake
yet.
know if you like the new intro. He worked really hard on it.
Yeah, he did. Take care.
Took me 10
Enjoy
minutes.
and have a good week, guys.
Peace.